Dragon Village Collection is an online mobile game where you collect dragons and interact with whatever is going on in the in-game events. There are so many kinds of dragons in the game. Some of them are just a variation of other dragon, some are just whatever this thing is. The gameplay loop of this game is simple. You get an egg of the dragons, then you grow them to adult. But of course, some of them are pretty much impossible to get nowadays. The game has been around for about 3 years as of making of this video and has probably become Hybro's most successful game ever made. By the way, Hybro is the company that made this game and the Dragon Village franchise. The game was first released exclusively for Korean only, but then they decided to expand farther in the Asia side of the world and later on opens up to the Western sometime around August of 2023. Ever since then, the game simply grows, both in terms of quantity of dragons that you can collect and the content within the game itself. Of course, there is one question that got asked on every game ever made. What are the end goals of playing this game? It doesn't explicitly say that there's an end goal to it, but generally collecting all of the dragon is the end goal for all players. Even then, there are still more things to do if you want more than just casual dragon collecting, like owning hundreds of the same dragon species, or maybe become a dragon merchant where you actively trade dragons with other players, whatever that might be worth bragging rights. Although, if you just start playing the game today, collecting about a third of all dragon in the game is almost impossible even when you spend real money, mainly because those dragons will never be available again to be obtained from their original source, and the only way of obtaining those dragons is from an event called Goblin Market. It's the event where players can auction dragons that doesn't grow anymore. This event has no fixed schedule on when it is held again, but it's usually held once every 3 months or so. Now, just to be clear, in this game, when something mentions the name of a dragon, it usually refers to the species of a dragon, not a dragon as individual, named Timmy or something. To know the scope of why is it almost impossible to collect all of the dragons, you need to know all of the ways those dragons can be obtained in the first place. Some dragons can only be obtained if you pay real money, some just takes much effort to get, some was only available during limited events and never returns. Sure, there's also the trading aspect of the game, but even then, not all dragons can be traded. Also, before trying to get dragons by trading in a game to complete your collection, you should always check this thing called Cosmic Album in your collection tab to see not just what dragons you've already collected, but also where and how to get those dragons that you haven't collected yet. See if the dragons can easily be obtained so that you don't have to waste Dragem. Dragem is a currency in the game that basically functions as money. It is used to buy and sell dragons with other players. Now, how hard can it be to collect all of the dragons from their original source? Each dragon has their ways to be obtained. The more common dragons can be obtained mainly from picking up eggs in the exploration areas, while others are from specific sources. For the sake of simplicity, we are going to classify the ways of obtaining dragons into 3 categories, which are exploration, paying real money, and event. The exploration category is the first way of collecting dragons you are introduced by the game. You simply go to exploration, select an exploration area, and just pick up whichever eggs available at the time. The first 2 regions you can immediately explore are the Yutakan and the Deep Sea regions. These regions contains what the wiki called field exploration areas, meaning you are sharing areas with other players. When there's an egg available out of the 3 options, other players can snatch the egg that you are going to pick up if you are too slow or if you have very bad internet connection. The option for each area refreshes every minute or when someone picked up an egg, which can be time consuming when you are looking for the rare ones. Again, there's the trading option. Both in the Yutakan and Deep Sea regions, there is also this exploration area called Evria. Unlike the field exploration areas, you don't share this area with other players, only you can see the option of eggs that you can get. But you need this thing called Cosmic Crystal to open the gate in Evria. You can get the Cosmic Crystal from filling up the aforementioned Cosmic Album and daily quests. Each time you open the gate, you get random options, but you may only pick one of them and discard the other 2. The eggs that you can get are just the same as their respective areas within each region, but the pool of eggs that may appear when you open Evria is different each day of the week. What you really want from Evria is the special form dragons that have a small chance to appear when you open the gate. Just remember that each special form dragons only appear at specific day of the week. On the silver lining, Evria has a pity system. Once you open the gate enough time, you get to pick one special form dragon egg from the whole Evria pool of the region, but they cannot be traded. Except for the special form eggs you get from opening the gate. They get turned into egg box, which then you can either take it for yourself or trade it with other players. The other two regions are Sky Kingdom and World of Dreams. The areas in these two regions are called individual field exploration areas by the wiki, meaning that only you can pick up the eggs. No longer will there be anyone snatching the egg that you were about to pick up. This is as close as you can be to a single player experience in the game, but now you have something called energy. Getting new options and picking up eggs now require energy instead of waiting for the options to refresh every minute. You might think, whoa, no one can snatch the eggs that I'm looking for then. Well, there is a catch. Beside the energy system hindering you from just picking up any egg, each area have a level. The level of the areas determine what dragons that can appear whenever you refresh the options, and to level up the areas, you have to grow specifically Generation 1 dragons from the areas. In the World of Dreams, you have to grow specific dragons as well, which makes the area very time consuming to get access on all of the dragon. Despite being basically a single-player collecting experience, most dragons that you collect from these two regions can still be traded, so you can also trade with others to level up the areas. Aside the simple egg collecting from exploration areas, there are also dragons that can only be obtained from playing minigames. You can see all of these minigames in the content menu. In the first tab, which is exploration, there are these minigames unique from one another. You can get dragons that cannot be obtained anywhere else by playing this minigame, but nowadays you can just simply doing it on auto mode. In the action tab, there are these minigames where you require specific dragons in order to get another dragon. For example, to get this dragon called Dark Nyx, you first need to own 4 specific dragons. Well, you don't need all 4 of them to do the minigame, but the chance of getting Dark Nyx is almost impossible with less than 4 of them. Each of the 4 dragons can be obtained from their corresponding areas. The same goes for all of the rest of the action minigames, just that the way the minigame works are somewhat different from one another. Okay, that's pretty much all you need to know about dragons that can be obtained from exploration. About half of all dragons in the game can be obtained from this category, or at least indirectly from it. In the next category, we have paying real money or paywall. There is really not much to talk about here. Dragons under this category are simply obtained by paying real money, both directly and indirectly. The monthly dragons are the most common paywalled one. Every month, there's always a new monthly dragon that you can buy using diamond. Diamond is just the game's premium currency. The only way of getting diamond is by buying them in the game. Monthly dragon will stay on sale for a whole month. They will be sold again in the next year of the same month, and then it will never be sold again. Monthly dragon will always have 4 different forms, and breeding each of the same form will give you a chance of getting something called breeding forms. They are basically just the monthly dragon's original form but with less visual effects. These breeding forms can be traded as well, so besides as a symbol of wealth, you can also trade their offspring with other players. Monthly dragons can also be auctioned in Goblin Market, and that's one way of getting the older ones. Another paywall dragons are called the card code dragons. This is pretty much gacha. The way you get this is by buying physical card pack and then you redeem the codes on the card. Buying a card code box will guarantee you a card code dragon from whichever volume of the set that the box belongs to. The problem is that the card code you get is random. Both monthly and card code dragons are pretty much the only paywall dragons. There is also something called adventurer dragon, but they haven't done that in a while. The last category is Event Dragon. Event Dragons can be free or paywall or a mix of both, whether because it's heavily relying on luck or you have to spend a lot of dragon. An example is their 3rd anniversary event, where people simply roll the dice and complete as many rounds as possible on this board. In order to get all of the Event Dragon's forms, you need to finish a ridiculous amount of rounds to reach a milestone where you get all of their forms, meaning you won't be able to complete your Cosmic Album for free. While you won't be able to get all the Event Dragon's forms without spending money, getting the default form of the dragon is very much possible even when your luck on the rolls are average. A reoccurring event that might require you to spend money is the Lucky Egg event. This is the true gacha event in the game. Like, the UI of the event window is literally represented with a gacha machine. The main prize is the dragon itself and the personality item that is also in the gacha reward list. One less recurring event is the Prism Gate. This one is famously known to happen at the same time or around Goblin Market, which will drain your Dragem if you want to bid on something in the Goblin Market while at the same time trying to get all of the dragons in the Prism Gate event. I'm not gonna touch too much of this event. It does have pity system and the event itself is heavily luck based. Getting all of the dragons in the event is possible without spending money. Assuming you are lucky, that is. That is pretty much all you need to know on where to get dragons in this game. About half of them you can get without spending money at all, while the rest are either paywalled or events that you need to spend money on. But just remember that you can also trade dragons and auction in the Goblin Market. Alright, I haven't even touched on another core gameplay of the game, which is what we're talking about next, growing your dragons. The game should have already told you, you just have to care for them and make sure the happiness bar is on green for as long as possible until they are adult. Is that all for growing the dragons? Well, you could do more than that. On every adult dragon, there is this thing called personality, also known as aura. Dragons can have all kinds of personality once they reach adult, depending on what has been done during their growing stage. Each personality has their own requirements that needs to be fulfilled. The requirements can be something from simply leaving the dragon alone, or even make them close to death during growth. How much work needed for a dragon to have a certain personality depends on what personality you want on a dragon. For example, you can make a dragon have this nice looking personality, but the requirements are very cumbersome to fulfill and takes literally at least 4 days of paying attention to the dragon. Most of the time, you would probably just pick the personality that doesn't take too much attention to fulfill, such as the wild personality. If you have certain item, you can literally complete its requirement in less than 5 minutes while having a decent looking aura. And that is all I can explain about the game in a single video. Considering this is the first ever video uploaded to the channel, it was quite a lot to work on. There are still more about this game, such as the utility dragons that will definitely help you in playing the game, and the shortcuts for each personalities that will save you time, but those kind of information would only matter if you are deep into the game already. Maybe I'll cover those in another video. Just comment down below on what to cover about the game. Also, shout out to the fandom wiki because it definitely helped a lot in the making of this video. Go check that. Anyway, subscribe will help, like and comment all that. Bye bye.